our power went out this morning. It didn't go out for long. It was probably 20 minutes. And Lovey was doing a puzzle, playing in the living room. It comes back on and he goes, thank God. That's right. I bet. Do you know what room you're going to be in next year? Okay. That's awesome. So where do you, will you be with pre-K? Okay. Yeah, yeah. Can't believe he'll be in pre-K. Right. Got it. Okay. Not to 9. Bring him into the multi-purpose, not to room 9. Is that? Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Do you think they're ever going to go back to the pre-COVID hours? I hear you. I'm more just. Oh, yeah. I mean. Yeah. Yeah. Good morning. Shabbat Shalom. Not at all. I would be wearing one too if I hadn't just gotten over COVID. After 2.5 years of constant masking, I got it. There will be plenty of people in masks today. There will be plenty of people in masks. But I will come and introduce myself because I don't know. I'm ready to read. Are you okay? Okay. Nice to meet you. Okay. Are Hi, love. Okay. You look great.
All right. Have fun. Good luck.
Shabbat Shalom, Boker Tov. We'll begin this morning with Birkot HaShachar on page 103 in your Sidurim. Page 103, please rise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasech v'ivin ala havchin ben yom u'ben laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani betzamo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani bat chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam roka haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa likol tzorki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael bigvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael betifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten l'yayef koach. You can be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ha'mavir shena minat mina me'afapai. V'hiratan mifanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'yavdashem. Utneinu hayom uv'chol yom lecheinu chesed u'rachamim beinecha v'neichol raweinu v'tikmalenu chasadim tovim. Baruch atah Adonai gomel chasadim tovim le'amo Yisrael. We turn to the Psalm for Shabbat, page 112. Hayom yom Shabbat kodesh shebo hayu halevim omrim beveit hamikdash mizmor shir le'yom haShabbat tov lahodot l'Adonai l'zamer l'shimcha elyon להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות עלי עשור ועלי נבל עלי היגיון בכינור כיסי מתנו ולך מעשה ידך ארנה מגדו מתנו עוד ינבון בשיבה דשנים ורעננים יהיו להגיד כי אשר אדוני צורי ולא עוולה תבוא. Page 120. Mizmor shir Chanukat habayit leDavid Hananai k'ditani v'osimach to'oi v'li Adonai le'meshemenan nafshi chatan midbar Zamro l'Adonai chasam v'lozacher kochoki rega b'bochim etam be'er v'yalin b'chi v'labok yarin avayni amarti b'shem v'melam Adonai birtzam chayman to'yisan tavanecha hayitini v'halilech anakam v'namam Ha'afachta mitzvani l'macholi pitachta saki v'tazreini simcha l'man yizamercha chavod v'la'idom Adonai Elohai le'olam odeka. Mourner's Kaddish for all those who are in mourning or observing a yahrzeit, page 121. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba be'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam Ulamel Maya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yitaleh V'yithalal Shemei Dekudsha Brichu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Da'amiran Be'alma V'imru. Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imur Amen. Oseh Shalom B'imramav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. We rise, page 122. Baruch She'amar V'haya Ha'olam Baruch Hu Baruch Osav Rishi Baruch Amar V'yaseh Baruch Ozem Chaim Baruch Mercham Baruch Merchem al haaretz, Baruch Merchem al habriot, Baruch Merchem Shabbat Merchem al Kishim Chavaram Licham Malkenim. Yachid Chai Haolami, Melech Mishubach Umfoar Adead Shemo Hagadol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Melech Mula Batish Bachot. You can be seated, top of 123. Hodu Adonai, Kiru Vishmo, Hodiu Vami Mali, Lotav Shiru Lozamar Losakman Avidal Vishom. Ki gadol Adonai hula me'od v'norahu al kol Elohim ki kol Elohei hamim elilim v'Adonai shamayim asa hod v'hadar lefanav oz v'ched v'abim komo havul Adonai mishpachot amim havul Adonai kavod v'oz havul Adonai kavod shemos v'milcha v'alefanav yishtach havul Adonai v'yimru v'goyim I don't want to get up here. Plus, I'll be in Roshina. He's in the Gatsana Vatana. I mean, I'm going to let the Shem Kochak Lish back to the Taka. Ramamu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavula hadom raglav kadoshu. Ramamu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavula har kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu v'hu rachum yechaper avon v'lo yashchit v'hir balashi v'po. V'lo ya'ir kol chamato Adonai lo tichla rachamecha mimeni chastecha v'amidcha tamid yitzur nitzachor rachamecha tanu aslo yimesar Adonai tzevaot ashrei adam boteach bach Adonai Hoshia hamelech yaneinu v'yom koreinu Hoshia et zamecha Uvarech et nachalatecha ureim v'naseim adolam sheinu chiktal Adonai zenim kivay smach libenu kivashem kodsho v'tachnu yichzan Va'ani b'chastecha v'tachti yageli b'bishuatecha shir Adonai ki gamal alai 127 lam natseach mizmor leDavid hashamayim mesaprim kohen masay adam magid harakia yom yabi omer v'layla chavidan eno mevenenu Yihil eratzonim reifi v'hegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri v'goali. We turn to Ashrei, page 136. 136. Ashrei veitecha od yehalalu chasel Ashrei amshkach lo Ashrei amshkach v'tila davina mimchal no And they call the Sabbath every time now, but no put a head at a maspil carton. So the garden the holder have a casibo homes have carbon and a Tahilat Adonai Daber Pi, Vivareko Basarshim Kod Shole Olam Vaed, Vanach Nevarechia, Meatavi Adolam, Hallelujah, 137, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Nafshiat Adonai, Hallelujah Adonai, Bechazar Malelo Hai Belzi, Al Tiv Techum Bin Divin Beven, and Amshain Lo Tishvat Tetzerucho, Yeshua Matel Bayam. Adonai Shomer et Gerim Yatom va'amanayo dad v'derech reshaim ya'avet imloch Adonai le'olam Elohayech Tzion l'dor v'ador Hallelujah Hallelujah Ki tov zamra Eloheinu Ki naim navati la b'nei Yerushalayim Adonai nidchei Yisrael yechanes harofel lishvur eleven parshon manem Yisrael l'chom kadon Zakir Hasherach Ber Panayach Bekerbech Magid Devarav Yaakov Chukav Mishpatav Yisrael Lo Asachem Lechol Goy Mishpatim Bayadom Hallelujah 139 Hallelujah Hallelujah Adonai Min Hashamayim Hallelujah Bamromim Hallelujah Muchamim Vayaram Karam Amo Teila L'chol Chasidav Livnei Yisrael Keravo Hallelujah Hallelujah Shir Ladonai Shir Chadash Tehilato Bikal Chasidim Yismach Yisrael Bosav B'nei Tzion Yagilu B'makam Yalish Lesor malchem bezikim, minik v'nehem mechavlei varzel, asot bahem mishpat katuv, hadarhu l'chol chasidav. Hallelujah, 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 bekodsho, hallelujah, berkioza, hallelujah, hallelujah, vetziel tzalei shama, hallelujah, hallelujah, vetziel tzalei teruah, kol neshama tehallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah, kol neshama tehallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen, v'amen. Baruch Adonai b'yitzan shachin Yerushalayim aliyah. Baruch Shem kavodo le'olam, v'yamalech kavodo kol ha'aretz, amen, v'amen. We rise 142. V'yivarech David, et Adonai l'nei kol kahal, v'yomer David. Baruch atah Adonai le'Yisrael. Atahu Adonai ha'Elohim asher bacharta be'Avram v'hotzeto ma'or kasim v'samta shemo Avraham u'matzata et levavo ne'eman lefanecha v'charot imo habrit latet et eret ha'kanani achitei amori v'apriziva yivusiva girgashi latet lazar v'tekem avarech ha'kitzari kata v'tertenu V'hayam b'kata lifneihem v'yavru b'toch hayam b'yabasha v'et rodfeihem hishlach tavim tzalot kemo even b'mayim azim v'yosha Adonai v'yom hahu et Yisrael miyad Mitzrayim v'yar Yisrael te'ara gdola asher asa Adonai b'Mitzrayim v'yiruham et Adonai v'yaminu b'Adonai uv'Moshe avdo Az Yashir Moshe Uvenei Yisrael Et Ashira Hazot Adonai V'Emer L'Mar Shelani Kigo Augustus Farkumar V'Emer Adonai imloch leolam va'ed v'tikach Miriam hanaviyah chol Aharon et hatof biyada v'tetzena kol hanashim acharaha betupim uvim cholot v'atan lahem Miriam shir l'Adonai ki ga'o ga'a sus v'rochvo ramavayam ki l'Adonai mlucha Moshe b'goyim v'alu Moshe mahartion lishpot et haresav V'hayetal Adonai ha'melucha, v'hayadonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz, v'yomo Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. You can be seated. We continue on page 145. Nishmat kol chai, tevarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu. Amar shani v'amagis nerdami v'hamesiach mi v'hamatir asurim v'haso mekroflim v'azokif kifim v'chalavat chanakman ilu finu ma'ala shira kayam shani nerinam yamam ziftoten shabak kamer chavei rakia v'inenu mi v'kazam shver v'yadeinu v'shalun shveshamayim v'ragleinu kalagelayim v'aklim Mimitzrayim ga'altan v'Adonai Eloheinu m'beit avadim peditanu kol Min melach u'mishvelach u'miyaroch lach Ha'el hagadol hagibor v'hanora el elyon koneh shamayim v'aretz nahalel chan shabechecha unfeirchan vorech et shem kodshecha ka'amor leDavid barchi nafshi et Adonai v'chol terai et shem kodsho ha'el b'tatzumot uzecha Haggadah b'chavod shemecha hagibor lanetzach v'hanora benorotecha hamelech hayoshev al kisei ram v'nisa. This concludes Pesukei de Zimra. We continue with the Shacharit service. Kenny will lead us beginning on the 6th line of page 147 with Shochena.
Shochena. Shochenad marum v'kadosh shemo. Shekein hovat kol ha'yitzurim lifanecha Adonai Eloheinu Elohei avotenu lehodot lehalel leshabeach lefa'er leromem lechader levareh leulka les al kol divrei shirot v'tishbechot David ben Ishai avdecha mashiach.
We rise, page 148.
Yishtabach Shimcha La'ad Malkeinu. Brachot ve'odot me'ata ve'ad olam baruch atah Adonai el melech gadol v'tishbachot el ha'odot Adon haniflaot habocher b'shirei zimra melech el ha'olamim.
Amen.
Ikadal v'ikadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divra kirtei ve'amlik malhutei ba'yachon uv'yamechon uv'chayed ochol beit Yisrael b'galav yisman kariv ve'imru Amen.
Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam l'olam
Yitbarach v'ishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shmei dekudasha
Brechu
le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'ne'amata da'amin ran be'ama ve'imru Amen.
Bottom of page 149.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvrei Hoshe osei shalom uvrei et hakol.
You can be seated, 150.
Hakol yoducha ve'hakol yishabechucha ve'hakol yomru ein kadosh kadonai. Ein kirkecha ve'ein zulatcha efes biltecha umidom elach ein kirkecha Adonai Eloheinu be'olam hazeh ve'ein zulatcha malkeinu lechaolam haba efes biltecha go'alinu limot hamashiach ve'ein dom elach moshienu lithiyat hametim.
151.
El Adon al kol hamasim baruch umvorach befi kol neshama gadlo vetuvo male olam da'at dutfuna sovev imoto hamid gael hayot hakodesh v'neftar bechavod al b'merkava Zehu du mishor lifnei chiso chesed verachamim lifnei chovodo Tovim me'orot shebara Eloheinu yetzaram b'da'at bevina uv'haskel koach ugvura natan b'hem lichiyot moshlim b'kirav tevel Maleim ziv umfikim no ganai zivam bechol haolam Smechim betzetam besasim bevoam Osim be'em maratzon konam Per v'chavod notnim lishmot zechala Verina lezecher machuto Kara l'shemesh Vayizrach ora vehikin surat havana Sheva notnim lo chol seva marom Tiferet ugedula serafim ve'ofanim ve'chayot
HaKodesh. Top of 152.
לאל אשר שבת מכל המעשים.
יום השביעי תלה וישב כסיף ותפארת שלים ומנוחה ונגר ליום השבת זה שבע של יום השביעי שבת יום השביעי שבת מזמור של יום השבת טוב לדום לנו ופיך כפרים ושבע גבר שמענו ומלחם תפארת משה שלום וצדק ועם הארץ עשית יפארו חסלה
תתברא מושיענו אל תשבח מעשה ידיך ועל מאורי אור שעשית יפרוך סלה.
Top of 153
תתברא שורנו מלכנו וגואלנו בורא קדושים.
ישתבח שמך ליד מלכנו יוצר משם כולם אהובים כולם ברים כולם עושים וכולם פותחים עצמיהם בקדושה וכולם רב בשירה עושים רב ערכים משלמים ופרים ומקדישים וממליכים
את שמך אל המלך הגדול.
הגיבור ונורא הקדוש וכולם מקבלים עליהם המלכות שמיים צדן אנשים אני אומרים ביראה
וכולם מקבלים עליכם עול מלכות שמיים זה מזה ונותנים רשות זה לזה להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח בשפה ברורה ובנימה קדושה כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה
קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך כל הארץ כבודו
קדוש 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 אדוני צבאו מלוך כל הארץ כבודו האופנים בחיות הקודש בראש גדול מנסים לעומת שרפים לעומתם משבחים ואומרים
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו לאל ברוך נעמוד איתנו
אור חדש ציון תבן ככבוד מעליו ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות
אור חדש על ציון תאיר ונזכחו לנו מחר עלי הרוב ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות
154
אחווה רבה אהבתנו אדוני אלוהינו חמלה גדולה ותורה חמלת עלינו אבינו מלכנו בעבור אבותינו שבטחו בך אבינו מלכנו ותלמדנו כחיים כן תחננו ותמתנו אבינו הרחמן המרחם רחם עלינו ותן בליבנו להבין ולהשכיל לשמו אל ילמוד וללמד לשמור ולעשות ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה והערנו בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך ויחד לבבינו לאהבה ליראה את שמך ולא נבוש לעולם ועד ולא נבוש לעולם ועד כי בשם קדשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך וחביינו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו כי אל פועל ישועת אתה ובנו בחרת מכל המלכים וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלה סלה באמת והודות לך וליחדך Baruch atah Adonai, Chabocher be'amo Yisrael be'ava. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'afta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha
ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושינתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובמלכך בדרך ובשופך ובקמך ובקרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך ובטפתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. We continue silently in the next paragraph, 156.
Vayomer Adonai el Moshe le'emor daber el bnei Yisrael v'amarta lehem ve'asu lachem tzitzit al konfetitehem le'dorotam ve'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf petil techele ve'chayal lachem le'tzitzit oretem oto Ushartem kol mitzvot Adonai, ve'asitem otam, ve'lo taturu acharei levavchem le'arei einechem, asher atem sonim achrehem, le'man tizkeru, ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai, ve'etem kedoshim le'lechem, ani Adonai Elohechem. Ani shirteihem yeres mitzrayim li'ot lechem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem emet. Ledor vador hu kayam ishmo kayam vechiso nachon u'malchuto ve'emunato le'ad kiyamet. Uvdara Chaim V'Kayamim. Ezrat Avotenu Atachu Me'olam.
Middle of page 158.
Tehilot la'el elyon Baruch hu umvora Moshe u'Miriam uvnei Yisrael lecha nushira besimcha rabba v'emru kulam mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh norat tehilot osei Shira Hadasha Shibchu Golim Leshimcha Sfatayam Yachad Kulam Hodu V'Mimaru Adonai Moch Le'olam Va'ed Zor Yisrael Kuma Be'ezrat Yisrael Uvdekinu Yehuda ve'Yisrael, go aleinu, Adonai Tzeva'ot Shemot, Kadosh Yisrael, Baruch Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
We begin the Amidah together through the Kedusha out loud, after that silently, 159.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Hazadim Tovim Bekonei Hakol V'Zocher Azdei Avot Umevi Goel Lifnei B'nechem Leman Shmo Be'ava Mele'os Uzer Ufoked Moshiach Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ufoked Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye Meitim Atah Rav Lo-Shiach Mechalkel Hayim Bechesed Mechaye Meitim Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Berofech Olim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Micha Mocha Bal Gevorot Umidom Elach Melech Memid Umechayeh Umatmiach Yeshua V'neman atah le'yot metim Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh HaMetim Nekadesh Shimcha Be'olam Keshem Shmakdishim Oto B'Shmei Marom Kakatu Val Yad Nevieha V'Karazel Zeve Amar
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech Kol Haaretz Kevodo, Az V'Harak
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech Kol Haaretz Kevodo, Az V'Kol Rash Gadol, Adir V'Chazak Mishmim Kol, Minasim L'umat Zrafim, L'umatam Baruch Yomeru.
Baruch Kevod Adonai, Mimkomo, Mimkom Kamo, Kenan Tovi Avatim Lachon, Kim Chakim Anachol, Matati Lachon, Avraham Lemanat, Tiktav Mimkom, Tirna Machut, Kadavam, Zecha, Ayadei Mashiach Tzidkaka.
Baruch Kevod Adonai Mimkomo, Mimkomcha Malkeinu Tofia, Betimlo Aleinu Ki Micha Ki Manachnu La, Matai Timlo Betzion, Bekarav Beyamenu, Leolam Va'ed Tishkon, Tid Gadal, Betid Kadash, Betoch Yerushalayim Ircha, Ledor Vador, Netzah Netzachim, Veinenu Tirena Malchotecha, Kadavar Chamor Beshire Uzecha, Al Yadei David Mashiach Tzidkecha.
Yimloch Adonai Le'olam, Elohayim Zion, Ledor Vador, Hallelujah.
Imlo Adonai Le'olam Elohai Tzion, Ledor Vador Hallelujah. Ledor Vador Nagid God Lecha, Ulenetzah Netzachim Kedushacha Nagdish, B'shivchacha Eloheinu Mebhinu Lo Yamush Le'olam Va'ed, Kil Melech Gadol V'Kadosh Atah, Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
Shalom, Shalom,
Bimruma,
Hu Yaseh Shalom, Oh, say Shalom, Shalom, Bimruma, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Oh, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Yisrael, Ve'immeru Amen. We continue with Kaddish Shalem, page 167.
Ikadal Vikadash Shemera Ba
Amen.
Be'alma Divrak Yirte Ve'amlich Malhute Bayachon Yuvimechon V'chayeda Whole Beit Israel B'galav Isman Kariv Ve'imru
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam Olam Ve'amaya Yitbarach.
Vit Barach Vishtabach Vit Pa'ar Vit Ramam Vit Nasei Vit Hadar Vit Aleh Vit Halal Shmei Dekudasha
Brechu
Le'elam Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tishbechata V'ne'amata Adam Inran Be'ama Ve'imru
Amen.
Tidgabal Silat Chon Ve'uvan Chon Dochol Israel Kodam Avochon Di Bishmaya Ve'imru
Amen.
Yehi Shalom Rabba Min Shmaya Ve'chaim Alinu Ve'al Kol Israel Ve'imru
Amen.
Oseh Shalom Bimruma Hu Yaseh Shalom Alinu Ve'al Kol Israel Ve'imru
Amen. We continue with the Torah service on page 168. I'll invite up Stephanie Mintz and Julie Brodsky, who will open the Ark. And, of course, Kenny's family to join us on the Bima as we prepare to take out the Sefer Torah, page 168.
Ein Kmocha Ba'elim Adonai Ve'ein Kma Asecha
Malchutecha malchut kol olamim umemshaltecha b'chor v'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai moch le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yitein. Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Av harachamim heitiv avirtzonecha et Zion. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. Ki vecha levad batachnu melech Elram v'nisa Adon olamim.
Vayhi bin Aaron Vayomer Moshe Kuma
Adonai ve'afusu oivecha ve'anusu b'sanecha mipanecha. Ki mizion tetzei Torah. Ki mizion tetzei Torah. U'devar Adonai mi'Yerushalayim.
Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushat.
We take the opportunity when the Ark is open to pray silently to ourselves in whatever way we would like. You can use 169 or 170 as inspiration. In just a few moments, we'll come back together on the bottom of 170.
Be'ana rachet Feli Kadisha Yakira, Ana Emar Tushbechan, Beyana Rafetz, Beyana Rafetz, Velishmei Kadisha, Kadisha Yakira, Ana Emar Tushbechan, Yecheru Avakodama, Tetiv Dali Bibioraita, Betachlim Mishalim Delibi, Veli Babi.
Top of 171.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai, Kadosh Shemo.
Bashamayim uvaretz kicho bashamayim uvaretz lecha Adonai hamamlacha ve'amid na'aseh lechol erosh romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu l'adom raglav kadoshu romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu l'har kodsho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Yanai nanai yanai nanai yanai nanai yanai nanai yanai Yanai nanai yanai nanai yanai nanai yanai nanai yanai nanai yanai nanai. You can be seated.
The Torah reading can be found on page 957, verse 50.
Whoever has the Kohen Aliyah, the first Aliyah, may come up now.
Bob Cohen.
V'ya'azor v'yagim v'yoshi Eloho ha'chosim bo v'nomar amen ha'kol havu godel Eloheinu utnu chavod la'Torah.
Oh, Mia could do it if you need to go in. Do you want Mia to do it? Yeah, go in.
But Kohen Kirvi, Meirav Eliana Bat, Chaim Lahoshua, V'nei Eliza HaKohen, Baruch Natan Torah, Liamo Yisrael, V'Kedushato,
V'atem adlikim b'na'arechem, hayim kochem hayom.
Elohim melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato, baruch atah Adonai, noten ha'torah.
Amen. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe barvot Moab al Yarden Yericho lemor. Daber Avnei Yisrael v'amarta lehem ki atem ovrim et hayarden el Eretz Canaan. Horashtem et kol yoshvei haaretz mipnechem ve'ibatem et kol maskiotam ve'et kol tamei masechotam ta'avedu ve'et kol bamotam tashmidu. והורשתם את הארץ וישבתם בה כי לכם נתתי את הארץ לרשתותה והתנחלתם את הארץ בגורל למשפחותיכם לרב תרבו את נחלתו ולמה תמיד את נחלתו אל אשר יצא לו שמה יצא לו שמה הגורל לא יהיה למטות אבותיכם תתנחלו ואם לא תורישו את יושבי הארץ מפניכם והיה אשר תותירו מהם לסיכים בעיניכם ולצנינים בצדיכם וצררו אתכם על הארץ אשר אתם יושבים בה והיה כאשר דימיתי לעשות להם אעשה לכם וידבר אדוני משה לאמור צב את בני ישראל ואמרת להם כי אתם באים אל הארץ כנען, זאת הארץ אשר תיפול לכם בנחלה, ארץ כנען לגבולתה. והיה לכם פת נגב ממברצין על ידי אדום, והיה לכם גבול נגב מקצה ים המלך קדמה, ונוסף לכם הגבול מנגב למעלה עקרבים, ועבר צינה, והיו תוצאותיו מנגד לקדש ברנע, ויצא חצר אדר ועבר עצמונה ונסב הגבול מעצמו נחלה מצרים והיו תוצאותיו הימה וגבול ים והיה לכם הים הגדול וגבול זה יהיה לכם גבול ים וזה יהיה לכם גבול צפון מן הים הגדול תטעו לכם הור ההר מהור ההר תטעו לבוא חמת והיו תוצאות הגבול צדדה ויצא הגבול ויצא הגבול זיפרונה והיו תוצאותיו חצר עינן זה יהיה לכם גבול צפון והתאוויתם לכם לגבול קדמה מחצר עינן שפמה וירד הגבול משפט הריבלה מקדם לעין וירד הגבול ומחה על כתף ים כנרת קדמה וירד הגבול הירדנה והיו תוצאותיו ים המלך זאת תהיה לכם הארץ לגבולתה סביב ויצא משה את בני ישראל לאמור זאת הארץ אשר תתנחלו אותה בגורל אשר ציווה אדוני לתת לתשעת המטות וחצי המטה כי לקחו מטה בני הראובני לבית אבותם ומטה בני הגדי לבית אבותם וחצי מטה מנשה לקחו נחלתם שני המטות וחצי המטה לקחו נחלתם מעבר לירדן יריחו קדמה מזרחה
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah tameh v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
The second Aliyah can be found on page 960, verse 16.
Ya'amod Ruvain ben Nisan Gerson Halevi.
You want to call it a different version?
Once they're called up, I'm called up.
Come on. I was all excited. Baruch Adonai Barach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Olam V'ed. Baruch Atah Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'nasa lanu es roseh. Baruch Atah noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayedaber Adonai al Moshe lemor. Eile shemot hanashim asher yinchalu lachem et haaretz. Eliezer hakohen v'Yeshua ben Nun. V'na'asi echad mimate תאכלו לנחול את הארץ. ואלה שמות האנשים למטה יהודה בן כלב בן יפונה ולמטה בני שמיון שמואל בן עמיחוד למטה בנימין אלידד בן כישלון ולמטה בני דן נעשי בוקי בן יוגלי לבני יוסף למטה בני מנשה נשיא עניאל בן אפוד ולמטה בני אפרים נשיא כמאל בן שבטן ולמטה בני זבולון נשיא אליספת בן פרנח ולמטה בני ישכר נשיא פניאל בן עזן ולמטה בני אשר נשיא אחיחוד בן שלומי ולמטה בני נפתלי נשיא פריאל בן עמיחוד אלה אשר ציווה אדוני לנחול את בני ישראל בארץ כנען.
Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam asher nosan lanu Torah emes v'hayei olam notas b'socheinu Baruch atah nosein haTorah.
Amen. The third aliyah can be found on page 961, verse 1. Is that right?
Yamod, Yaakov Yitzchak ben Binyamin v'Yaakov la'aliyah hashlishi.
Can you do in the count?
Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikohamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayedaber Adonai a Moshe ba'arvot Moav al Yarden Yabrecho Lemor Zav B'nei Yisrael V'natnu Lavi Min Chalad Achuzatam Arim LaShavet Umigrash La'arim Sevivotehem Titnu Lavim V'hayu Harim Lahem LaShavet Ubigrashehem Yiyu Livhem Tam V'lirchu Sham Ulchol Chayatam Umigrashe Ha'arim Asher Tinu Lavi Mikir Ha'ir Bachutza Elef Amas Aviv Umadotem Michutz La'ir Et Ba'at Tema Alpayim Ba'ama Viet Pa'at Negev Alpayim Ba'ama Viet Pa'at Yam Alpayim Ba'ama Viet Pa'at Safon Alpayim Ba'ama V'ha'ir Ba'tavech Zeh Yiyeh Lahem Migrashe Ha'arim Viet Ha'arim Asher Tinu Lavim Eight Sheish Arei Hamiklad Asher Titnu Lanu Shama Harotseach Va'alehem Titnu Arba'im Ushtayim Ir Kol Ha'arim Asher Titnu Lavim Arba'im Ushmona Ir Edhen Viet Migrashehen V'ha'arim Asher Titnu Me'achuzat B'nei Yisrael Me'ed Harav Tarbu Me'ed Hamat Tam Itu Ish Kafi Nachalato Asher Yinchalu Yite Me'arav Laviz.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu asher natan lanu Torah v'chayei olam natan b'chayim. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Shkoach. Now you gotta take mine back.
The fourth aliyah can be found on page 962, verse 9. Fourth.
And Meredith is. May I come back up for a sec? Carrie has the fourth aliyah. You're gonna go by.
Tamot Shoshana Chaya Bar Yisrael Yaakov V'Sosi Asara HaRevi'it Aliyah HaRevi'it.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Ba'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Ba'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen.
Vaydaber Adonai Moshe Lemor Daber al Bnei Yisrael v'amarta lehem Ki atem uvrim et hayarden arta Canaan v'hakritem lachem arim arei miklat tiyena lachem banas shama rotzeach maken nefesh bishkaga v'hayu lachem ha'arim lam miklat migaal v'lo yamut harotzeach aramdu lifnei haida lemishpat v'ha'arim asher tignu shesh arei miklat tiyena lachem Et shalosh ha'arim titnu me'ever li'arden ve'et shalosh ha'arim titnu be'eretz Canaan arei miklat tiyana livnei Yisrael v'lager v'letoshav b'tocham tiyana shesh ha'arim ha'ele lemiklat lanus shama kol makanef kol lanas shama kol makanefesh b'ishgaga.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'chayei Olam Natan B'tochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen. The fifth aliyah can be found on page 963, verse 16.
Elazar ben Yehuda, Rachel Gital bat Kalman, Aryeh ben Shimon, HaChamishim.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Ba'ed.
Baruch Adonai Olam Bo'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher b'chanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Be'im bichli barzel hikachu, bayamot rotzeachu, mo imat harotzeya. Be'im be'evan yad, asher yamot bo hikachu, bayamot rotzeachu, mo imat harotzeya. Oh, בכלי את יד אשר ימות בו ייקחו, וימות רוצחו, מות ימת הרוצח. גואל הדם הוא ימית את הרוצח, ופיגו בו הוא ימיתנו. ואם בשנה ידפנו, או השלך אוהב, וסדק וימות.
ואיבה יקהו וידו וימות, מות ימת המכה רוצחו, גואל הדם ימית את הרוצח בפיגו בו, ואם בפתע בלא איבה הדפו, או השלך עליו כל כלי ולא צידייה, על בכל אבן אשר ימות, ובלא רעות יפל עליו, וימות והוא לא אויב לו ולא מבקש רעתו, ושפטו העדה בין המכה ובין גואל הדם על המשפטים האלה, והצליעו העדה את הרוצח מיד גואל הדם, והשיבו אותו העדה על עיר מקלטו, אשר נשמה וישב בה עד מאוד הכהן הגדול, ואשר משח אותו בשמן הקודש. ואם יצא הרוצח את גבול עיר מקלטו אשר ינשמה שמה, ומצא אותו גואל העדה, גואל הדם מחוץ גבול עיר מקלטו, ורצח גואל הדם את הרוצח, אין לו דם כי בעיר מקלטו, יושב עד מות הכהן הגדול, ואחרי מות הכהן הגדול, וישוב הרוצח אל ארץ אחזותו, והיו אלה לכם לחוקת משפט לדורותיכם וכל משפטיכם.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher nasa Torah semes, v'chayei olam mitach esocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai nosein Torah.
The sixth aliyah can be found on page 965, verse 30.
Ha'amo Nechama Tzilya Bat Moshe V'Yehudis Hashishit.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamborah.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
כל מכה נפש לפי עדים ירצח את הרוצח, ויד אחד לא יענה ונפש למות. ולא תיכו חופר לנפש רוצח, אשר הוא רשע למות, כי מות יומת. ולא תיכו חופר לנוס אל עיר מקלטו, לשוב לשבת בארץ עד מות הכהן. ולא תחניפו את הארץ אשר אתם בה, כי הדם הוא יחניף את הארץ, ולארץ לא יכופר לדם אשר שופך בה, כי אם בדם שופכה ולא תטמא את הארץ אשר אתם יושבים בה, אשר אני שוכן בתוכה, כי Ani Adonai Shochein Betoch B'nei Yisrael.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet b'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. The seventh aliyah can be found on page 965, verse 1.
Ya'amdu Yehudas bat Elazar v'Rachel Moshe ben Arya v'Rachel Gital Hashivim.
Baruch Ed Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Marach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vaikarvu, Reshehavu, Mishpachat, Negilad, Ben Machir, Ben Menashe, Mishpachot, Ben Yosef, Vaidabru, Lifnei Moshe, Lifnei Hansiim, Reshe, Avot, Lifnei Israel, Vayamru, et Adoni, Siva, Adonai, Lathet, et Haaretz, Benachala, Begora, Lifnei Israel, Adoni, Siva, Adonai, Lathet, et Haaretz, Benachala, et Nachala, Salafchad, Ahinu, Livnotav, Vechayu, Lechad, Libnei, Shivtei, Bnei Israel, and Ashim, Nikra, Nachalatan, Menachalat, Avotenu, Venosaf, Al Nachalat, Hamate, Asher, Tiena Lahem, Migora, Livnotenu, Nachalatenu, Yigarea, Ve'imiyeh, Hayovel, Livnei Israel, Venosfa, Nachalatan, Al Nachalat, Hamate, Asher, Tiena Lahem, Uminachalat, Mate, Avotenu, Yigarea, Nachalatan. Vaitzav, Moshe, et Bnei Israel, al pi Adonai, Lamor, Cain Mate, Bnei Yosef, Dovrim, Zechadavar, Asher Tziva, Adonai, Livnot, Slavchad, Lamor, Latov, Benehem, Tienal and Ashim, Ach, Lamishpachat, Mate, Avihen, Tienal and Ashim, Velotiso, Nachala, Livnei Israel, Mimate, Amate, Ki Ish, Benachalat, Mate, Avotav, Yidbeku, Bnei Israel, Vechalat, Yershet, Nachala, Mimatot, Bnei Israel, Lechad, Mimishpachat, Mate, Avia, Tehileisha, Leheman, Yershu, Bnei Israel, Ish, Nachalat, Avotav, Velotis, Sov, Lach, Limate, Echad, Ki, Acher, Ki Ish, Benachalatov, Yidbeku, Matot, Bnei Israel, Keasher, Siva, Adonai, et Moshe, Kenasu, Banot, Lavchad, Batiena Machala, Tirtsa, Behagla, Umilka, Benoa, Banot, Lavchad, Livnei, Dodahem, Lenashim, Nimishpachot, Bnei Menashe, Ben Yosef, Hayu, Lenashim, Vedhi, Nachalat, Almate, Mishpachat, Avihem, Alecha Mitzvot, Vechamishpatim, Asher, Tziva, Adonai, Beyad, Moshe, El B'nai Yisrael Be'arvot Moav Al Yardei Yerecha.
Oh.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. I'm going to cover the Torah just for a moment, Kenny. As this is the first time that you have read Torah for our community, I can see that you look proud of yourself, and you should be. So I know that everyone here is proud of you, your friends, your family, your parents, probably even your sister. And so with that pride, we offer gratitude for arriving at this moment, to God for sustaining us and for giving us life. I hope you'll all join us in reciting the Shechianu Bracha together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kipanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Our service to offer a prayer for healing. After I recite our list of names, I'll scan the room, and I invite any of you to recite names of those that you would like to send some blessing towards today, healing of body or healing of spirit. Mishaberach avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov ve'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rechav Leah v'yivarech v'yira petach cholim. Jackie Andrews, Omer Ashkenazi, Harriet Barstein, Mark Battleman, Helen Beavers, Ricky Beavers, Lee Bradley, Vicky Bradley, Eli Bressinger, Mickey Brown, Jennifer Buchanan, Marlena Carpenter, Beverly Cassius, Charlotte DeFlumer, Susan Gerber, Edward Goldberg, Shuli Goodman, Paul Harmel, John Herrick, Michael Hillman, Marshall Jaffe, Nelson Jervis, Jerome Kaplan, Inbal Krichelli, Dan Lawrence, Mark Sanlazar, Alvin Malkin, Maddie Marshall, Mark Mathias, Jane Milan, Norma Mintz, Jody Moore, Larry Robinson, Pamela Gayross, Judy Schenberg, Darlene Shefsky, Brian Siskin, Brandon Suffer, Bina May Stern, Sarah Whaley, Sharon Whaley, Jennifer Woodward, Debbie Yanks, Aaron Ben Brona, Aliza Batrina, Hannah Clara Bationa, Chaya Bracha Batzaman Ve'Esther, Malka Batzora Bela, Moshe Ben Pesha, Sora Miriam Bat Shendel, Yaakov David Ben Devora, Yonatan Ben Batya Ve'et. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimale Rachamim Alehem L'Hachzikam U'Rapotam V'Yishlach Lehem Mehera Refuah Shlema Min HaShamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf B'toch Shar HaCholim V'Chazek Et Yedei Haoskim B'Tzorcheihem Shabbatim Milizok Urfak Rava Lavo Hashta Bagala V'Zman Kariv V'Nomar Amen El Na Refana Lanu El Na Refana lanu, elna refana lanu, refuah shelema. Chatzi Kaddish.
Yid Gadol v'Yid Kadash Shemei Rabba.
Amen.
Yom Divrei Kirutei v'Yamlich Malchutei.
B'chayechanu b'yomecha, u'v'rayedachol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, Ubizman Kariv, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach, Leolam Leomei
v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yiramam v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudasham v'rechu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata
Tushbechata b'nechemata ta'amiron be'alma.
ve'imaru.
The Maftir Aliyah can be found on page 967, verse 10.
Yamod, 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 Habachor bar hamitzvah, Kalman Pinchas ben Moshe, ve'Yehudas hamaftir.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Ba'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamborach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
V'tihena machlat yirzah. Asher tiva Adonai et Moshe kenasu banot zelafchad v'tihena machlat hirzah v'chagla umilka v'noam banot zelafchad livnei dodahem lenashim v'mishpachot b'nei Menashe ben Yosef hayu lenashim v'tihena chalatan al matei mishpachot avihem Ele hamitzvot v'hamishpatim asher tziva Adonai beyad Moshe el bnei Israel be'arvot Moav al yardei Yericho. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata betocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
We rise for the lifting of the Sefer Torah.
You know what? Am I sitting down with it or just put it down on the side?
Ya'amdu, Kalman Pinchas ben Moshe ve'Yehudas. No, sorry, that is wrong. Yeshia David ben Yehuda HaMagbiya. Ta'amod, Yaakov Shmuela bat Moshe David ve'Aviva Mindel HaGolelet.
Zod HaTorah asher sam Moshe
Livnei b'nei Yisrael Adonai
Mitzion te'ei Torah, Bar Hashem Yerushalayim. 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 You can be seated. Kenny will chant the Haftarah for this morning. It can be found in our Chumashim on page 973. The Haftarah for this morning is the second of 3 Haftarot leading up to Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av, which is next Saturday night. This is referred to as the second Haftarah of admonition from the prophet of Jeremiah, 973 in your Chumashim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratzah b'divrayim hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah v'Moshe avdo v'Yisrael amo v'nvi'echa emet v'tzedek. Shimu devar Adonai Beit Yaakov v'chol mishpachot Beit Yisrael Ko amar Adonai Mamatzu avodechem bi'avel ki rachaku me'alai v'elchu achrei hahevel v'yabalu Velo amru aye Adonai hama alai otanu me'eretz Mitzrayim hamolichotanu bamidbar be'eretz arava b'shucha be'eretz yah Adonai be'eretz lo elvar ba'ish velo yashav adam sham va'avi etchem El Eretz HaKarmel Le'echol Pirya V'tuva V'tavu V'tamu Et Artzi V'nalati Samtem Le'toeva HaKohanim Lo Amru Aye Adonai V'tovsei HaTorah Lo Yedauni V'charoim Pashu Bi V'hanvi'im Yibu V'ba'al Ve'acharei Lo Yo'ilu Halahu Lechen Od Ari Ve'itchem Ne'um Adonai Ve'et B'nei B'nechem Ariv Ki Ivru Iye Kitim Oru Ve'kedar Shilchu Ve'hitbonu Me'od Oru Hen Haita Kazo Hahemir Goy Elohim Ve'chama Lo Elohim Ve'ami Hemir Kevodo Belo Yoil Shomu Shmaim Alzot Ve'sa'aru Harvu Moav Ne'um Adonai Kishetayim Hayim Lachsov Lachem Be'orot Nishbarim Asher Lo Yachilu Hamayim Ha'eved Yisrael Im Yelid Bait Hu Madu Ahaya Lavaz Alayu Yishagu Chifisrim Nanu Kolam Vayashitu Artso Leshama Avrav Nitztu Mibli Yoshev Gam B'nei Nofet Hafan Ches Yeruch Kadkod Halozot Ta'aseh Lach Azvech Et Adonai Elohai Be'et Moliche Badarech Va'ata Malach Lederech Mitzrayim Lishtot Me'shachor Umala Lederech Ashur Lishtot Me'nachar Teasresratech Shuvotech Tochichu Udi Ori Kiravama Azve Et Adonai Elohai Velo Padati Elaich Ne'um Adonai Elohim Sebaot Himelam Shevarti Ulech Nikti Moshrotaich Vatomri Lo Evor Ki Al Kol Giva Yevocha Vetacha Kol Etranan So Azona Ve'anochi netati sorek kulo zere eme ve'ech nepanchti li shore hagef ben nachriya ki im tichasi beneter vetarbi lachbori Nichta onech lefane neum Adonai Elohim Ech tomri lo meti achrei havalim lo halachti rei darkech bagai dei me asi bichrakala mesa reket derachecha perech limud midbar ba'avat nifsha sha'afa ruach ta'anata mi yishivena Kol mivakshecha lo yafu bechadsha imsauncha min iraglech miyachef ugronech mitzimcha vetamri noash lo ki achavti zarim ve'acharechem ele kevoshet ganav ki yimatzeh ken hovishu beit Yisrael hema malchechem sarechem vechochanehem unviehem omrim la'etz aviata vela even at yilidatanu kifanu al elai orefelo panis Uvet ra'atam yomru kuma v'choshienu ve'aye Elohecha asher asita lach yakumu im Yoshiucha ve'et ra'atecha Ki mispar arecha hayu Elohecha Yehuda Halo me'ata karat li avi aluf neorai ata Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Sor kol halamim, Tzadik bechol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'yoseh, ha'mrabeh u'mkayem, shekol devara amet v'tzedek. Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu, v'ne'emanim devarecha, v'davar echa mibarecha, achor lo yashuv reikam. Kiel melaneman v'rachaman ata, Baruch atah Adonai ha'el v'ne'eman bechol devarav. Rachem al Zion ki hi beit hayinu ve'lavut nefesh toshiya b'mcheira b'yameinu. Baruch atah Adonai meshameach Zion b'ivnecha. Samcheinu Adonai Eloheinu Beliachu Hanavi Avdecha Umalchut Beit David Mashiach Bimchaira Yavo Veyagel Libeinu Al Kiso Lo Yashuv Zar Velo Yinhalu Or Achherim Et Kevodo Kivesham Kojecha Nishbatalo Shelo Yichben Nero Leolam Vaed Baruch Atah Adonai Magen David Al HaTorah Ve'al HaVodah Ve'al Hanviim Ve'al Yom HaShabbat Hazeh Shnatata Alanu Adonai Eloheinu Likdusha Ve'limnucha Lecha Vod Ve'til Feret Al HaKol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu Modima Imvarchim Ota Yibarech Shimcha Befi Kol Hai Tamid Leolam Vaed Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Kenny's going to finish his snack, and then he's going to offer us some words of Torah. Finish chewing. Swallow.
Would you stay on the other side of the Jordan, or would you cross into Israel? This is the question that I learned about studying this week's Parsha. In this week's Parsha of Matot Maseh, the tribes of Reuben and Gad were faced with this question. The land on the east of the Jordan was a good land for cattle, which these two tribes had an abundance of. The tribes of Reuben and Gad decided to ask Moshe if they could stay east of the Jordan, but Moshe wasn't on board with this idea. Moshe responded to them by saying that they would make the other tribes less confident in going into the land. He reminded them of the story of the 12 spies who went to scout the land and see if it would be good or not, and 10 of the spies were not confident in the land. He doesn't let them to stay on the other side of the Jordan entirely. Why should the tribes of Reuben and Gad not help the Israelites capture the land of Canaan? Eventually, they make a compromise solution. Moshe decided that the two tribes could build towns on the east of the Jordan for their children, women, and cattle to stay. Then they go help the rest of the Israelites fight to capture the land. Imagine that you are these tribes. Would it be worth it to stay on the east of the Jordan? East of the Jordan, you would have better land and maybe become more successful. But is it worth it to lose your connection to the rest of the Israelites and God? All of the Israelites would feel less whole and connected without these two tribes. Moshe would probably want them to be whole and together. Another thing that really interests me about this parsha is that these tribes wandered in the desert for 40 years, with their main goal being to get into the land of Canaan. Then, when it is time for them to enter the land, they don't go in. Can you imagine having one goal for 40 years, and then when you can finally accomplish the goal, you decide against it? But that isn't it. In the Torah, the tribes of Reuben and Gad say that they will build sheepfolds for their flock and then build towns for their children. But when Moshe responds to them, he tells them to build towns for their children and then build sheepfolds for the flock. He responds to them switching the order. This had the rabbis write tons of midrash and commentary. In this commentary, the rabbis were saying that these tribes had their essential secondary and their secondary essential. What was least important, they prioritized and valued, and what should have been their priority, they put second. This means that instead of prioritizing their cattle, their priority should have been to care about people. It could also mean that their priority could have been to go into Israel, but instead they wanted to get rich. In the Midrash, God says to the people that they love their money more than their souls. At first, when I read this parsha, I thought the tribes of Reuben and God were correct for not wanting to cross the Jordan. I felt that it was okay that they wanted to get money. After reading this commentary, I changed my opinion on the tribes of Reuben and God. I now thought that these tribes should have crossed into Canaan instead of staying on the east of the Jordan. I also thought that these tribes were just being greedy and caring more about money than people. We learn from this to care for people and not to be greedy. It's important to stay together and feel connected to your family and community. Being connected is important because you have people to support you and always be there for you. My communities have supported me for every step in life, and they will support me for every step I'm going to take in the future.
Stay up here. I get to offer you a blessing now. Yasher koach. Misha berach avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, v'imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless Kenneth Perry, Kalman Pinchas, Ben Yehudas v'Moshe, who has come forward this day to the reading of the Torah in recognition of his desire to live a worthy Jewish life. Kenny, part of the Torah reading today outlined all of the stops that the Israelites took on their journey through the wilderness. The Torah goes through in lots of detail where they camped at night and where they journeyed to, and then the next stop, and so on and so forth. And our commentators ask why each and every stop had to be marked and noted just prior to them entering the land. And they teach that it's important to recognize all of the stops along our journey. The stops that are easy, the stops that are challenging, the stops that are exciting, and the ones that are just regular. They are all important on our journey. And today, Kenny, is one of those stops on your journey, one that I know you have worked so hard to accomplish, and one that will have a mark on you. Today, in your deep dive into your Torah reading, you reminded us all of the value of sticking together as a community and prioritizing what really matters. For the tribes of Reuben and Gad, they weren't as eager to ensure that their commitments remained to the rest of the children of Israel, and they focused on their monetary successes. You read this and realized that there was a cost. You understood why they wanted to make that decision, demonstrating your ability to be empathetic, but you knew that it was at the expense of their connection to community. I hope that no matter where you travel, no matter what your stops on the journey are, you know that you are part of this powerful Jewish community. And I have no doubt that you know what the right priorities are, ones that keep you connected to the people that matter most. And there will inevitably be hard times, and I hope you know that Jewish community will always be a part of your story throughout those stops. Kenny, you are extremely hardworking and devoted. You are even-keeled, and you are easy to get along with. You have an awesome, shining smile that feels like a window into your funny soul. You will certainly be successful in whatever you dedicate your efforts towards, and the Jewish community is so lucky to have you as one of its newest adults. May God continue to be with you and in the life that lies before you, just as God has been with you from the day of your birth until now. May it be God's will that you continue to grow in body and spirit, in wisdom and humility, in love of all creatures, in faithfulness and courage, surrounded by your beloved family. And may you always be regarded as gracious and wise in the eyes of God and all humanity. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Mazel tov. We'll continue with Ashrei on page 181. I'm going to grab your siddur. Immediately following Ashrei, we'll open the Ark to put the Sefer Torah away. I'll invite up Lauren Tuckner and Janie Judakin, who will open the Ark right after Ashrei. We continue on page 181.
Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha, Od Yachalalucha Selah.
Ashrei shekachalo, Ashrei ha'am sh'Adonai Elohav.
Tehillah LeDavid, Aramimcha Elochai HaMelech, V'Avracha Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed.
B'chol yom avarchecha, v'ala shimcha le'olam va'ed.
Gadol Adonai Umlol Me'od, V'ligdol Atoin Heker.
Dor ledor yishavach ma'asecha, u'gvurotecha yagidu.
Hadar Kavod Hodecha, Uvdivrei Niflotecha Asicha.
Ve'ezuz morotecha yomeru, u'gdulatcha saprena.
V'zecher Rav Tuvcha Yabiyu, V'sitecha Yeranenu.
Chanun barakum Adonai, erech hapay mugdol chased.
Tov Adonai Lakol, Barachamav Al Kol Masav.
Yodu Adonai kol masecha, v'chasidecha yevarchucha.
Kevod Malchutcha Yomeru, Ugvoratecha Yedaberu.
V'odia livnei ha'adam gevurota, v'ukvod adar malchuto.
Malchutecha Malchut Kol Olamim, Memshaltecha Bechol Dor Vador.
Somech Adonai l'chol hanochlim, v'zokech l'chol ha'kefufim.
Einek Kol Al Chai Yeshaberu, V'yatham Noten Lachem Et Cholam Beito.
Poteach et yadecha, u'maspia l'chol haraton.
Sa'adik Adonai Bechol Drachav, Bechasid Bechol Masav.
Karov Adonai l'chol korav, l'chol asher yikra'u be'emet.
Ratzon Yarei Av Yaseh, Veit Shabbatam Nishma V'yoshin.
Shomer Adonai et kol ohava, ve'et kol harsha'im yashmi.
Tehillah Adonai Yedaber Pi, Uvdivrei Kol Beshar Shem Koto Leolam Va'ed.
V'anachnu nevarech ya, ve'atav yad olam, hallelujah. We rise as the ark is open, 183.
Yechalelu Et Shem Adonai, Ki Nizga Shemo Levado.
Hodo al eretz v'shamayim, v'ya'arem keren le'amo, teila lecho asida, lifnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah, mizmor leDavid, hallelujah.
Vaisef Yeraro, Ve'el Chulo Kulo, Omer Kavod.
Adonai l'Havo Yashav, Vayeshev Adonai melech le'olam, Adonai Yamo yiteh, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom.
Et Chaim Chi Lama Tasikim Ba V'Tom Meyushar Darachecha Darachei Nerolam V'Chol Mezifrotecha Shalom
remain standing. We continue with Chatzi Kaddish before Musaf 184.
Ikadal Vikadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Helma Dibrak Yurte Bamli Kamalhute by Chon of Yamechon of Chaye the whole Beit Israel Bagalav Isman Kari Vemru.
Amen. Yehesh Shemei Rabbah
Mevora
Mevora
Leolam Lomea Gid Barach, Vit Tabach, Vit Par, Vit Ramam, Vit Nase, Vit Hadar, Vit Ale, Vit Halal, Shmei Dekudisha, Barichu, Le'elam in Kol Birchata, Veshirata, Tush Bechata, Venechemata, Damiran Ve'ama, Vemru, Amen.
We begin the Musaf Amidah 185.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanara El Elyon Gomel Hazadim Tovim Bekonei Chachol V'Zocher Hazeyahu Vigo Elifnei B'nechem Leman Shmo Be'ava Melecho Zeru Vokedu Moshiachu Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Abraham Uvoked Sarah Atah Gibor Adonai Mechayim Mesim Atara Hoshia Mechalkel Hayim Behesed Mechayim Eitim Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Berofeh Holim Umatir Asurim Umakayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Milam Ochabal Gevurah Umidom Elah Melamemi Dumechaye Umachmiach Yeshua Beneman Ataleo Metim Baruch atah Adonai Mechayecha Metim Naritzecha Venakdishecha Kesod Siach Sarfei Kodesh Chamakdishim Shimcha Bakodesh Chakatuf Al Yad Neviyecha Vekara Zel Zeve'amar Kadosh
Kadosh Kadosh Adonai Tzevaot Melocho Haaretz Kevodo Kevodo Malel Shatav
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzava'o, Melech Haaretz, Kevodo, Kevodo, Malei Olam, Meshartav, Shelim Zelazeh, Aye Makum, Kevodo, Limatam Baruch Yomeru.
Baruch Kevod Adonai, Mimakom, Mimkom, Ibn Rahim, Yacham, Ever, Mimkom, Ibn Hashem,
Baruch Kevod Adonai, Mimkomo, Hu Yifen Berachamim Ve'yachonam Ham Yachadim Shemo Erev Avoker Bechol Yom Tamid Pamayim Be'ava Ham Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Hu Eloheinu, Hu Avinu, Hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu, Bechu Yishmienu, Berachamav Shemi, Leine Kol chai. Lichot lachem lelohim.
Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Ani Adonai Elohechem, u'divrei kodecha katuv lemor.
Yimloch Adonai le'olam Elohayim Tzion, Lador Vador, Hallelujah.
Imloch Adonai le'olam Elohai Tzion, ledor vador hallelujah. Ledor vador nagigod lecha, ulenetza netzachim kedushacha nagdish, v'shivchacha Eloheinu mepchinu lo yamush le'olam va'ed. Kel melech gadol v'kadosh ata, baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh.
If you're still davening your personal Amidah, please continue at your own pace. Kenny will pick up with Kaddish Shalem, page 203.
Ikadal vikadash shemei rabba.
Amen.
Be'el ma divra kirte ve'em lich malchute. V'yachon v'yamechon v'chayedocho beit Yisrael. B'galav yisman kari ve'emru.
Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach. Le'olam u'lam me'amaya yitbarach.
Itbarach v'ishtabach v'ipar v'itramam v'naseh v'ithadar v'ithalel v'ithalal shmei d'kudashah.
Brechu.
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tishbechata v'ne'amata ta'amin ram be'alma ve'emru.
Amen.
Tidgabal silachon uvonchon d'chol Yisrael ko damavolchon di bishmaya ve'emru.
Amen.
Yehi shalom rabba min shmaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'emru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imru mav hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'emru.
Amen. We turn to 204 for En Kelohenu.
En
Kelohenu, En Kadonenu, En Kemalkeinu, En Kemoshienu, Mikelohenu, Michadonenu, Michemalkeinu, Michemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shehitiru, Avoteinu, Lefanecha Ketoret Hasamim. Yanai, 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 Yanai. We rise for Aleinu 205. Take it away.
Alinu l'shabeach l'Adonai kol l'atei kedula v'yoser breshit shelo asanu kegoye aratzon velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama shelo samchenu kahem v'gor aleinu kohamuna ve'anachnu korim u'mishtachavinu bovim Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Notei Shamayim V'Yosed Haaretz U'Moshe Mikaro B'Shamayim Yima'al U'Shchinatu Zo B'Govei Meromim Hu Eloheinu Enon Emet Malkeinu Efesulato Kakatu B'Torato V'Datayom V'Hashevota El Levavecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim B'Shamayim Yima'al V'Ya'aretz Mitachat Einod Al Ken Mekabel Adonai Eloheinu Lira Mehera B'Tiferet Tusecha V'Havir Gilulim Min Haaretz V'Ha'elim Karot B'Karetun Latan Kenolam B'Malchut Shaddai V'Chol B'nei Basar Ikru B'Ishmecha V'Havno Delecha Kol Rishei Aretz Yakiru V'Yedu Kol Yoshvei Tevel Ki Lechatzifra Kol Beret Tishava Kol Lashon Lefanecha Eloheinu Yikru Ve'yipolu Ve'lichvod Shimcha Yikaritenu V'kavu Kol Ameto Malchutecha V'timlo Alehem Meher Le'olam Va'ed Ki HaMalchut Shacharit U'meyad Timlo B'chachod Kakatu B'Toratecha Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed V'ne'emar V'chaya Adonai Le'melech Al Kol Haaretz V'yom Hahu Yiyeh Adonai Echad U'Shmo Echad. You can be seated. Me too. Today and in the coming week, we honor the yahrzeits of the following: Celia Lubin, Bernice Sherman, Steve Leibovitz, Nathan Heller, Aaron Shankman, Max Bowden, Jerome Glatstein, Alex Rufa, Jacob Maratznek, Mame Wenner Ziskind, Jack Joseph Milstein, David Israel, Nicole Giles, Thelma Halpern, Esther Cooper Ostro, Albert Matasovsky, and Sadie Nodowich. I invite all those who are in mourning or observing a yahrzeit to join us reciting Mourner's Kaddish, Kaddish Yatom, page 207. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma Divra Kirute Ve'amlich Malchute B'chayechon Uv'yomechon Uv'chaye D'chol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Uv'izman Kari V'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam U'lamei Almaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yithadar, v'yitaleh, v'yithalal, shemei dekutsha, brichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom,
Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. First of all, and most importantly, Mazel Tov to Kenny, to your parents, to your grandparents. We're so proud of you and so excited to be able to celebrate with you. Welcome to all of you that are here for the Simcha. It's wonderful to have you. I'll invite up Carrie Unowski, who will offer a short presentation to Kenny from the Sisterhood of Beth Sholom.
So Kenny, and I promised everybody I would keep this short, but I just have to say, when I first looked up your Torah reading way back in February, I took a look and said, oh my God, this is a doozy. But I will tell you, you learned that Torah reading like it was nothing. Every week you just plowed through it. It was really amazing. But even more impressive, Kenny, was the fact that every week, unprompted by your mother, you would text me to find out when we were meeting that week. You would give me your availability. Kenny, I know grown men that cannot keep up with their own schedules. You were amazing. But of course, your greatness is not so surprising when you look at your family. I mean, your mother, former president of the synagogue during the time of COVID, pure awesomeness runs in your family. So it is my pleasure on behalf of Sisterhood, and I'm going to come over here to get the presents, to give you your own Kiddush cup. May you use it in good health, and a chumash, so you can always read words of Torah. And I will be calling you to chant again in the future. So Mazel Tov, Kenny, and just may you continue to give your family much joy and nachas for years to come. And one last thing. Whenever we Zoomed, I always just wanted to reach through the camera and do that. I love your hair, okay? Congratulations. And you're yours. All right.
She has been waiting months to do that, I know for a fact. It's a pleasure and an honor to call up Kenny's parents, who will offer some words to him, Alyssa and Michael.
Kenny, there are probably a lot of people in this room who would be surprised to find out that I think you came out of the womb talking. And I think the very first thing you said to me was, no, Mommy, I do it. And ever since then, you have just adopted that philosophy of you're independent, you can handle anything that you set your mind to, and you accomplish it. And I know that will stay with you for the rest of your life, and you'll be able to accomplish anything that you set your mind to, except for maybe being an NBA player. I'm proud of you. Thank you.
Oh, Kenny, what an amazing job. Your mother and I are incredibly proud of you. We're proud of the hard work you've put in. We're proud of the job that you've done, but we are most proud of the young man that you have become. I could go on and on with all the incredible words that I have to describe you, from kind, fun, caring, but not only are these words not enough, they feel very generic to me with the unconditional love that most parents feel for their children. Unconditional love. You understand this term? Yeah? Yeah? This is an incredibly special and valuable relationship. It's something common in parents towards their children. It's something spouses can strive for and unfortunately often fail. Fail because it can be difficult. Unconditional love can require a lot of work, large amounts of acceptance of faults, annoyances, and often actions between loved ones, which is what makes the unconditional love so unique with you. Because Kenny, you make it incredibly easy. It goes beyond how much I enjoy spending time with you, your easygoing personality, your willingness to participate in about any activity with a positive attitude. All of this is amazing, but it goes so much deeper than that with you. It's right choices, the comfort you provide people without any effort, things I can't even describe, but I have a couple of examples to help demonstrate your special nature. The first has to do with the first of our 2 amazing trips to Dallas to watch Alabama in a bowl game. Roll Tide. Thank you. This trip was not teed up for success. Kenny got car sick and was in the back seat utilizing throw-up bags for multiple hours of the drive. We had tickets the next day to go to Six Flags. It would only shut down for ice. What did it do that night? It sleeted. Six Flags was closed. It was very cold all weekend. We walked everywhere we went in this cold. But the story I want to tell is not how these facts barely registered to Kenny. It's not about your positive attitude and what a great trip we had despite anything. It's a story that actually reflects poorly on me, but I'm going to tell it anyway. You remember our big plans before the game? We were going to go early to buy the stadium, find a great place to watch football and eat and enjoy the atmosphere. Well, if anyone's ever been to Jerry World in Dallas, there is nothing around it. The only thing there is a giant building called Texas Live. Probably the most Texas building you could imagine, a huge monstrosity with bars and TVs, and not a place you want to go with your then 11-year-old son and may not want to be anyway. Not only was it not the place to be, but it was $50 a person just to enter, I believe. Too far to walk back to our hotel. We were dejectedly, with no coats, walking around the building, and what do we see but somebody exit the building and the door shut without closing all the way. I opened this door and I saw a way in, and I said, Kenny, come on. Kenny looked at me and he made the right choice. You made the ethical choice. And this is a very difficult situation, as this was something suggested by your father. I hope you always keep this straight, to recognize the right decision and have the strength to stick to your convictions. Less dramatic is if we talk a little bit about one of our dogs, Birdie. Birdie is petrified of most things. Loud noises of any types, storms, fireworks. She might be scared of a sock on the floor, I think, sometimes. And with the other 3 in the family doting on her all the time, trying to comfort her, playing with her, petting her, trying their best to connect with this dog, who does Birdie search out during a horrible storm when she is most scared? Kenny. To his room or the playroom she goes to be right next to him. She just senses his natural aura and comfort he provides, like she knows the type of person you are and feels that comfort just being with you. As an aside from that, Kenny sleeps on a trundle bed, and there are times when Birdie will come to his room because she's scared and come onto his bed with him. He will let her fall asleep, and then Kenny pulls out the trundle bed, and he sleeps on the bed on the ground on the trundle bed to give Birdie. And this can be seen with kids his age, with people his age as well, who often have spats and are talking negative about each other and don't get along with one another. And while all this is going on, I always see Kenny seeming to be a good friend. He hadn't had to learn how to be right with these people, not to fall in with the cruel crowd who can be saying mean things about each other. He just knows to not talk negative, to be accepting, and it is special. He came about it naturally, and your friends and family can all feel it. These are responsibilities or traits not asked of someone your age. It's amazing enough that you possess them, but the most amazing part is how effortless you make it seem. You do this, Kenny, just by being you. You make unconditional love easy. You're unlikely to want to claim me as yours for quite a few years, but you're my best friend. I hope we always have our adventures and fun trips together. I love you and your sister more than anything in this world. I'm proud of you today and always. Love you.
Thank you so much to both of you. I'll now invite up the president of our shul, Naomi Katz, to offer some announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. A huge mazel tov to Kenny and Alyssa, Michael, and Natalie and your extended family. You really did it all this morning, Kenny. You davened, you read Torah, you taught us Torah, the Haftarah. The only thing that's left are the announcements, and if you want to hop up here, you can. I'm guessing you don't. Welcome to all of the guests who have joined us to celebrate Kenny. Kiddush will be sponsored by Kenny's family, and then afterwards, everyone is invited. Our executive director, Gio Poor, will be leading a class, Mystical Readings on the Parsha. This coming Saturday evening, August 6th, we are having a Tisha B'Av service at 9 p.m. Bring your flashlights, and we will be listening to the book of Eicha. A couple of upcoming events. Sunday, August 14th from 10 to 12, there is a back-to-school pool party at the home of Larissa and Jeff Kay. Our new director of education will be there. If your child is going to be, if you're either thinking of sending your child to religious school, if you know of somebody, if you're thinking of joining Beth Sholom, any of the above, please join us, bring a friend, and all the information is on our website. A couple of events leading up to Rosh Hashanah. One is a honey sale sponsored by our sisterhood. You can send honey to family and friends. Go on our website to take care of that by August 1st. We have a cooking demo on September 11th with Rosh Hashanah Foods, and that's sponsored by the sisterhood, and that's at 4:30 p.m. And then the following week, on September 18th, it's our program Tikkun Shalom, where we prepare our shul and ourselves. We'll be cleaning, there'll be crafts, there'll be food and learning. So I hope you will join us for that. And then birthdays coming up this week. Gordon Gruen, Kendall Atias, Elaine Friedman, Haley Bardos, Rosalind Litt, Leah Fox Greenberg, Samantha Nodowich, Brian Richard Cooper, Robin Schaefer, Stephen Borodkin, Hannah Siegler, Molly Hannah Morrison, Samantha Weiss, and a happy anniversary to Wendy and Michael Kleinman. Shabbat Shalom, and look forward to seeing everybody at Kiddush.
We'll conclude this morning with Adon Olam, page 211. 211. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Le'et Nasa B'Chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kiflot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Vehu Haya Vehu Hove Vehu Yiyeh Betifara Vehu Yiyeh Betifara Vehu Echad Ve'yen Sheni Leham Shilo Lehachbira Beli Reshit Beli Tachlit Velo Ha'oz Ve'hamisra Velo Ha'oz Ve'hamisra Vehu Eli Ve'chai Goali Ve'tzor Chedli Ve'yetzara Vehu Nisi Omanosli Menat Kosi Beyom Ekra Menat Kosi Beyom Ekra Beyado Akid Ruchi Be'et Ishan Ve'a'ira Ve'im Ruchi Geviati Adonai Li Ve'lo Ira Adonai Li Ve'lo Ira. We rise for Kiddush. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat Hein Barak Adonai et Yom HaShabbat Vaykadshehu Savri. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat Shalom. Everyone is invited, if you'd like, to my office for Kiddush Club. Everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Job done.